you beautiful freaks. Welcome to a brand new episode of FREAKQUELS. I'm EJ Leeson, and with me today is my co-host, certified party boy, Rory Colorasi. What's up, buddy?
I'm good. I gave up the party boy persona. The police made me promise after the whole Winnie the Pooh thing was normalized.
Right, yeah.
So they were just like, could you maybe just stay home a couple nights?
Right.
And then it turned into me just never leaving my apartment.
Yeah. Well,
Let's move past this.
Yeah. And of course, the podkeeper himself. The joke's on you because he was born yesterday. Young Vince. What's up, buddy?
Good, man. How you doing? Apparently they moved Daytona Bike Week up to NEPA for this week for some reason.
Like,
yeah, lots of
going
motorcycles.
There's
Yeah.
like
So many
going
motorcycles
on outside.
Someone is definitely a fan of the bike
A
riders.
biker gang.
Yeah. They're like, let's go see that movie.
Well, we do have a very large demographic of bikers.
Yes.
And they show their support by ruining our audio.
Ruining our audio signals.
And also, we have a very special guest on the show, second time appearance. This mother effer rode in on a space horse, the lovely, charming Carmo.
What's up, my
What's
equals, shequels, and non-binary equals? Love you, miss you. I'm thinking about all of our time together, our past time together, and I just want to come back and touch Vince's beard because it's very nice.
We're happy to have you.
Yeah.
So glad to be here.
Yeah, me too. I'm excited to have you back. I'm not sure I'm excited about the movie you picked.
Hey, listeners, strap in.
Strap it on. Strap in. You're right.
Strap
Buckle
in.
up.
Buckle up.
It was a curious choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Like, actually, so Vince in the beginning, when we first started doing these episodes, would say that he would check his watch 20 minutes into a movie and just be like, man, I hate those guys. I was like, man, Carm, you're going to get it. I got 20 minutes into this, and I'm like, man, I am so friggin' positive with cinema, and I'm like, oh, boy, I am
Yeah, I got 20 minutes into this, and I looked at I'm like, oh, it's 8 minutes into this.
Oh, we have a lot to talk about, dear listener.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, so I had heard about, I haven't really watched any of the Howling, and I'm like, well, you know me, I got to pick something.
Neither did the director, apparently.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
We're going to talk about him. And
Sing!
But I'm like, I got to pick something. Wait, everybody keeps talking about how wild The Howling 3 is because it's a complete departure from The Howling. And I'm like, well, I can't take anything. We got to pick something nuts. So, plus I'm a little baby piss, so I can't watch anything really scary. So, but I like to torment EJ a little bit. It's karma. It's payback.
Yeah, it's payback.
So
this was awful.
But this was, yeah, you're welcome. I had fun, but only because, I think we talked about this, only because I didn't watch it alone.
Right.
And, like, Tyler came up, and, like, what made this good for me, like, I figured if I had to watch this by myself, it would be, like, torment. And unfortunately, what makes me see this film in a better light is doing the research on the film. And I don't know, you shouldn't have to do like post work to appreciate the film.
I was gonna say that's
yeah. You and I are gonna be in agreement at that. So like, I don't know.
Yeah.
When you're behind the scenes is better than your actual product. There's a problem somewhere.
Yeah.
And you know what? I have a question. So you said that you actually kind of enjoyed the movie a little bit more because you had company, right?
Mm-hmm.
None of us had company, right?
I did.
You did?
And I still didn't enjoy it. In fact, my company, and I completely understood where she was coming from. She tapped out about an hour in, and I give her credit for
That's
making
fair.
it the hour, because I looked over and she was gone, and I'm like, you lucky bastard.
So lucky.
I resented her while she slept peacefully, and I had to sit there and write notes for this movie.
Yeah.
That's what my life's at.
It was great, too, because at certain points in the movie, you're like, oh, okay, it's probably almost over now.
No.
And it never was.
Dude, I thought like I was like, oh, this is like at least an hour, 20 minutes have gone by, and then I checked the time because, by the way, I just kept checking the time, and I just looked at it, and I'm like, oh, 45 minutes have gone by. There is Still like an hour left.
Yeah.
And not to get ahead of
some
ourselves,
change.
but they kept, the crew kept talking about how great and fast-paced and how quick the movie was. Well, not for us.
Not
No.
All right, should we talk about this shitty movie or should we just go home?
So
Yeah, no more
let's
stalling.
just tear that Band-Aid off.
Yeah, let's just tear it up.
Or we could go home.
Let's
What's
do
this? You're just doing sound effects over there.
It's like early morning talk
we're
radio.
doing props today because you just had a prop.
What you can't see is
Yeah,
we're
I did.
all holding hands right now to talk
Yes.
about this movie.
We are.
It is very...
This is group therapy.
It's
if you watch this movie, you will need therapy after.
See, I had thought you guys have seen...
bad movies. No,
Yeah, well, this
Not-
one
not
in
this
particular, this one is weird because either some people haven't seen it, some people have a conception of it, a misconception of it, and I'm not going to bat for it. Well,
You shouldn't.
we will get into it. We'll get into it.
What's really funny is that Beck and I were laughing last night because she brought up this thing, and I was like, "Oh, it's really funny." There probably is the biggest fan of this movie somewhere in the world.
There is.
Somebody who has like all the memorabilia, props, posters, and what an embarrassing person that is. If you're listening right now, seriously.
I do have this
you're loved.
funny
You're loved.
story. I was like, oh, I don't know if I should tell this. I remember going to Blockbuster and they had a Halloween 1, Halloween 2, Halloween 4, Halloween 5, right? And I just remember being like, oh, I didn't see 3. Should I watch 4? And so I remember watching all the Hallowings, and so this was my first time watching this one. But I just thought it was funny that even Blockbuster was like,
Let's not.
Fun fact, it wasn't supposed to be. And the director himself has stated that he did not intentionally see Howling 1 because he didn't want to be influenced by it.
And it shows.
And I remember telling Tyler, I'm thinking, are we watching? I couldn't remember. Are we watching Howling 4 or Howling 3? Yes, the person that picked the movie, I couldn't remember what we were going to watch. And I look at the tags, it's horror and comedy was next, and I go, oh yeah, this is the one. This is the one. But we'll find out.
Now, is it comedy on purpose or it just?
So here is the thing. We'll get into that a little bit later, but I thought it was just the streaming platform doing that. Supposedly, and the director's own words himself, it was meant to be fun, not serious, like satire, like a parody of movies.
Yeah, so he's still confused about what it's supposed to be.
Right.
I don't think he knows.
Not to mention
So-
how much trouble I had finding it because I'm texting EJ. I'm like, what is it called? Is it Halloween 3? Howling 3?
Howling 3
Howling-
marsupials, or the
Halloween-
marsupials.
Yeah. And I texted, like, when I typed,
You
right,
you autocorrected.
it auto-corrected to Halloween.
It autocorrected me and then it autocorrected you and we were both lost. But we
Yeah.
got it. Hey, we're
Yeah.
there.
So just to be clear, the director was saying that this was supposed to be like a comedic satire.
All right, so
I love damage control stories, so
well, that's the thing, and this is why I'm glad you're on the other end of the table because I will.
pooing it, yeah.
Well, so apparently,
As you nervously shuffle through your notes.
He's got so many notes too.
Philip Moore is paying me. I cannot screw this up. There's so much writing on this. My health insurance. Apparently, like, his idea was he wanted to make something completely absurd. And
Good job.
Check.
check. And I don't know, we talked about this, and Vince and EJ, you chime in too, because my understanding of this was in Australia at the time, government and corporations were heavily involved in the types of movies they can make, and it was they wanted these serious masterpiece theater type of artsy high cinema type of stuff. And what he wanted to do was bring the genre to Australia, but make it Australian comedy. And we were kind of talking about that. We were talking about Mad Max, about, remember how they were trying to find their own way to produce films in Australia. And it was just this weird, like, we'll get into it later when we start talking about, like, the production and the effects. But his idea was, well, I want the most absurd and inappropriate time to have somebody transform into a werewolf, i.e. the ballerina scene, right? I want to make something really eclectic and absurd. And then everybody that I watched comment on that echoed that. So it was like we were just having fun. It was just great. Everybody has great. It was so absurd, like the nuns turning into werewolves. It was just like
The nuns watching TV in a cave.
Yeah, in a cave.
Blew my mind.
It was. There was so much. Like, you mean like the skeleton coming back to life?
Yeah.
They referenced that. They're like, oh yeah, well, the skeleton's not supposed to come back to life.
You know what this director strikes me as? It's like when Tommy Wiseau was trying to talk about how it was always supposed to be a comedy.
Yeah. And
Yeah. It
no,
was like
it was not.
this
No.
movie was
Yeah.
like. I walked in and I'm like, is this like a Neil Breen situation where they're trying to be serious? And I don't know. Like what I saw doing research, and I don't know if it's a damage control or not. This is me being optimistic.
But the answer is yes.
This
You heard it here, folks.
This movie
just
was
kidding.
absurd, and it was an experience, I would say.
Hey, I feel like this whole episode is going to be a little different than our normal ones.
God.
Yeah, we're
'Cause, like,
trying.
we
We're
really
still.
try to be like
Positive.
cool about things,
Right.
but I'm
Yeah.
like every so often it's like
This
you're
movie
just
is
being phony. You know?
Yeah.
Dear listener, this was a wild ride, and we're all processing still.
We're still reeling from it. I'm
We're
gonna
all
have,
on a car accident
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
This
Of the
is
cinematic variety.
this is like physical therapy.
yeah, you're gonna have PTSD from this for a
Yeah.
couple weeks.
Yes.
We don't-
Yes.
Some of us can't even make eye contact.
I have not looked at you guys once.
Yeah, don't.
I know what I did to you, and I have no problem.
Well, you're a sociopath. It's very obvious.
So, let's get down to the Howling 3 Marsupials.
That's the real title. By the way.
We
the
got
real
there,
title.
everybody. Oh, do you want to know what the working titles were?
No.
That's what I want. More information about this movie.
It was either called Womb with a View
Oh no.
or Womb with a View, or it was like or Tongue in Uterus or something like that.
So now, was this like Howling 3? What was it? View from the Womb?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that were those like the alternate titles in that sense?
Yeah.
So it was
yeah.
always gonna be like a Howling sequel.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So,
Damn it.
well, basically,
Yeah, I took it as the Marsupials. Oh, I don't know if this is going to sell. Luckily, we own the rights to the Howling. So let's use that.
Yeah.
to, like,
funnily enough,
let's
he
manipulate the
directed.
audience.
Yeah.
He supposedly directed The Howling 2 with Christopher Lee,
what?
and like
Yeah.
he came off of that and did this. But I don't know. They
Yeah.
just wanted to have fun, I guess, and. Oh no! It was called. Okay, so the working titles were Womb with the View or The Howling 3, Tongue and Pouch.
Tongue and pouch.
Do you think he tried to put the marsupials into the one with Christopher Lee? And he's like, take the marsupials out of the movie.
Yeah, I definitely.
I will not film.
And Christopher Lee was a rad dude.
Marsupials.
Like he'd be down for, but he knew. He had the judgment.
Interesting.
We can get off on 30 tangents of just him.
Yeah. So the movie starts off in Australia, and then immediately jumps over to Siberia,
Because why not?
and then
Yep.
and don't worry, they never go back to Siberia at all.
Don't need to.
They don't need to. They don't have to. They just have this guy run out, and it's like Siberia, and you're like, oh, okay. And then
This
they
is the movie it's gonna
immediately
be.
jump out of there.
Yeah.
It's for
So,
the
so
prophecy.
none of us are going to comment on the fact that these opening credits went on forever?
Yes.
Oh well, I mean, yeah.
You know what? I think
For a very long
think-
time.
I think I disassociated really hard, and I don't remember the credits at all. And I think that was a defense mechanism.
Well, they just
Yeah.
kept going. Like, they were a big
And
chunk of
going.
that running
And
time.
and I also love that the first line in this movie is
Ah.
that's it. Someone
Yeah.
wrote that down.
I
First
wrote-
line in this movie is going to be
I also, in my notes, when I was, like, reading the names and the credits,
Yeah.
I was like, there was probably some tragic review for this movie written where it's like, you haven't seen the last of these actors.
Oh no! Oh no!
Funny you mentioned that because the director said the New York Times said that if you see a werewolf movie this year, see this one,
Yeah?
which is
because it was the
wild.
only werewolf movie made that
It was
year.
probably the only one.
I see, now I heard what they wrote was, no, seriously, where's the real movie? That was their review.
Okay, what is happening?
Where
here?
is the real movie?
So as soon as they jump out of Siberia, they're there maybe like 2 seconds. They jump over to the NIA, not CIA, the National Intelligence Agency in the United States, and they receive a message of a werewolf killing 3 villagers in Siberia, and the acting in this scene is just outstanding.
They're smiling about it.
Yeah, I love the guy who's like, I got a feeling, right? And he's like, what is it? Indigestion? He's like, no, fear.
There's a lot of one-liners in this. It's amazing.
That was a moment where I realized we were in trouble.
Yes.
I think a part of that bad acting was, did you guys notice how that entire scene was ADR'd?
Oh, yeah, you get,
That
like...
everything,
so
like that
obvious.
entire scene was ADR.
Yeah.
It drove me crazy. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So, we then cut to a classroom, and a Professor Beckmeyer is talking to his class about a tribe that caught what looks like a real werewolf.
Yes.
And they show video of it.
Yeah, and he's like, yo, check out this video. And the video lasts for like 8 seconds. And then he's like, all right, that's all for today.
Everybody go home.
That's the lesson.
I was like, that's... And not one student, like, questions, like, hey, we actually pay for this class?
Yeah, like, are you going to teach us anything?
Like,
or?
can we get, like, something in return?
And this video...
Good footage for 1905.
Right, it was supposed to be
Yeah.
shot in this, like, black and white newsreel type of thing, but it was just like just some dude in an animal suit while people danced around him and burned it at the stake.
Yeah.
Which was, I heard, actually an original scene from Killers of the Flower Moon.
Right?
There's so many layers to what I just said.
I know, it's so good.
Yeah.
I'm going to go home and unwrap it.
You know what I'm just realizing too, like, this movie was such a movie that,
Technically.
well, yeah, I mean, I'm looking at my notes, and it's like fury, like just trying to get stuff. And none
So
of
much
it,
stuff crossed out.
There is like,
Hey,
there's no coherence here.
Fun fact about the notes: the very first time where I was like, I'm done. I was like writing notes. I'm like, I can't do this anymore.
We're kindred spirits because I contemplated not taking notes 4 times while watching this. I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can.
Unfortunately, I have to.
Yeah, okay. Fun fact. Because I'm like, you know what? Regardless, you know me. I go full force, and when I do these things, I take them seriously because I respect the people that I work with. I know, but I love you. But I did think to myself, well, you know, EJ's gonna like write, he's gonna like narrate the entire thing, and I just, if I falter, terrible. I'll just piggyback off of EJ. It's gonna be fine. Yeah. He's gonna be my dad in this situation.
Yeah.
Only he's gonna be patient.
You
with
can
me
be Frodo
and not hit me
with
with
Sam.
Yeah.
He'll carry
I'll carry
me.
You.
Yeah. I'll carry you.
I can't watch this movie for you, Mr. Frodo.
Mr. Carmo.
But I can watch you. I don't know. Whatever.
So
I can watch this movie for you.
So Professor Beckmeyer goes to Washington to meet the president, and interestingly enough, it's just a hotel pool. He's like, oh, I'm in Washington. And it's not like, this is the White House. It's literally like, it looks like a...
Yes. So he appears second time in the movie later on. I actually had to rewind to go back and be like, oh, is that the president? That's the president. Okay. And he's apparently in a hotel gym.
Right.
With a lap pool or something like that.
Wait. Okay, so I'm just now realizing that 80s, sitcom MacGyver villain was actually the president.
Yeah.
Of course he was.
So that guy was the president?
Yeah.
Okay. We learned something.
Did anybody else find it weird that at one point it became an episode of The Office?
Yeah, where they're filming.
Yeah. So once they're like, they break the fourth wall.
That's Tyler yelled that they're breaking the fourth wall. Now, granted, they're doing that on purpose because they're filming themselves while filming themselves.
But they never go back to it at all. They're like, oh, what's this camera crew doing here? Oh, it's with me. And I'm like, wait, they just broke the fourth wall, and then I'm like expecting something to come back out of that.
Oh, what you thought there was going to be a payoff?
They
in the movie?
never come back to it. They're like, oh, it's just a camera crew,
and he's filming it in a robe. Like, you're doing something for posterity, and you're in like a friggin' robe, and they keep bringing up the Shroud of Turin for some reason. Like, what is that? What is happening?
Yeah, that's what's frustrating about this movie is that there's a lot of things that they just throw in because.
Right. And
like that's one of those things where you're like, oh, so they're recording something in the gym, I guess.
Yeah.
Which is weird. But you're like, okay, so at some point later on in the movie, this is going to come back and it's going to undo the president, whatever. Nope, we're done with it.
So, like, we had this conversation where a lot of things, there's a lot of exposition, and a lot of things just happened because they wanted them to happen, not necessarily it needed to happen, and they wanted it. They wanted to get to a certain point, but they got to that point without actually going to the point. Do you know what I mean? Like the journey. They wanted to have bread without mixing the ingredients and baking the bread.
I'm glad you could follow this movie because I could not. They could have left like breadcrumbs and I'd still get lost.
They could have given him a map.
Can I let you in on a little secret?
Yeah.
Let me let you in on a little secret. I have no idea what I'm talking about.
We can tell.
You're doing that thing, because I've done it before, where you're just trying to put like make sense out of chaos.
Yeah.
Where you're like, I think this is the reason
chaos.
why.
Yeah, this is chaos. So Beckmeyer then shows a photo of a werewolf and explains, he's like, yeah, the real Mr. President. And the president's like, I don't really buy it. And then the movie transitions. And in between all of these transitions, there's a weird zapping.
The zapping.
Yeah, it's like, and I'm like, why does it keep doing this?
Also,
Fuck with you.
Yeah,
also,
I was like, why is this happening?
keep in mind what EJ just
The
said.
movie's antagonizing you.
The president says that he doesn't buy it.
Right.
So put that in the back of your head. Remember that for later.
Hey, also,
Yeah.
the professor, in my notes I have, the professor has all the natural charisma of a pedophile in an ice cream truck.
Oh, no.
Yeah, a little bit.
Doesn't he kind of look a
The
little...
mustache, the comb over. Yeah.
Mr. President. Yeah, he was just so...
The accents are wild in this movie.
Yeah.
So
Wild.
are we now transitioning back into Sydney?
So, yes,
and
now we zap over to Australia.
So,
and we meet a lovely group of ladies. And when they're all part of like a tribe. But one is named Jerboa. Who loves snow globes of Sydney, Australia.
Can I tag in something real quick with the snow globe? They do a nice little close-up of a random shot of a snow globe. And as soon as I saw it, I just went, Rose Dud.
Also, my notes have, Dear God, the jump cuts.
Yes.
And also, what is this tribe?
Yeah.
Aborigine?
They were not Aboriginal. There is
one
two.
Aboriginal that shows up later.
I love him. I love him
he was
so
the
much.
best part.
And the two guys from Crocodile Dundee are in this movie
Oh
too.
my God! I think that. Oh my God!
Oh. Which
Yes.
guys?
The big burly guy,
Philo?
and then his. I think it was no.
Philo, like the stepfather?
We'll get there, but there's two guys at the end where like he's talking about, oh, we're gonna go hunting, and the guy's like, no, we have to turn back because he's gonna kill. There's two guys on the left side of the screen, and I'm like, I think those are the two guys from Crocodile Dundee, and I'm pretty sure it is.
Good job remembering
Was Philo
that.
the guy?
Well,
who was the
I
guy that
remember
was
Crocodile
in Ben-Hur?
Dundee.
My brain's leaking.
Yeah, so I think Philo is the guy. He's like the bigger bald guy.
Yeah,
he was like the stepfather of Jerboa.
He's the head of the tribe.
He's the head of the tribe, and Jerboa hates him, and she ends up running away. They're like, Jerboa, Philo wants to see you, and she's like, I don't want to see him, and she just like runs out of there.
So immediately you're thinking that he is like, for half of this movie, I'm like, he's an asshole. He is the villain of the movie, and that doesn't really change, but it's like, it's like he wields. If you have to pick this tribe is like everybody does his will. He needs a mate.
Yeah,
It's like
It's
an incestuous thing,
Yeah.
and we find that out in the next scene because
Thank God you're gonna bring this up.
yeah. So Jerboa is on the bus, and she reveals to a priest. He's like, "Go back to town," and he's like looking right at the camera. He's not even like looking at her doing this dialogue. I was like, is this guy an actor, or is this just
There
like
are so many religious figures in this movie. And we don't know who is a plant, who isn't a plant.
Yeah.
It's just like...
Aside from the religious thing, it's just the actor.
Yeah.
It's literally like somebody that was like, oh, we forgot to cast somebody.
Get that guy.
Is your Uncle Franco, is he available?
Oh, that guy.
Kind of comes off like...
Hey, the guy that brought the donuts in.
Do you know an American movie when Mark Borchardt just needs his mom to dress up,
Yeah.
It's like that kind of a thing where it's like, oh, I don't have somebody, so we'll just get this person.
Yeah.
And then he says something to her, it's like, basically she's like...
Don't you want to go back home, sweetheart?
Yeah, she's like running away. He's like, why? She's like, because my stepfather tried to rape me, and he's a werewolf. And the line is delivered in a way that it's supposed to be funny, But you like, I guess maybe just living in 2024, you're just like, oh,
That's It's
and
like,
it's not funny.
there's like there's like a laugh beat.
Yeah,
Like it's like you could have stuck a laugh track in there, but it's just one of those things where you're like, oh.
Well, see, to this
Weird.
point, I really thought it was still a horror movie, so I was like really confused because I'm like, that's a really weird line delivery.
Yeah.
beloved listener, a lot of stuff did not age well.
Yeah.
Not
Yes.
in this one.
Not in this one.
In fact, well, we'll get to that.
So later that night, she's sleeping, and she scares off some guys. She's sleeping on like a bench, and some guy is like offering her like a radio for some reason. He's like, "Hey, check this out, lady."
Like trench coat creeps using but it's a
And then she's
Compact disc.
only right. And I was like, "What? Like, but what the fuck is happening?"
How many times throughout this movie did you say, what is happening?
Yeah, every scene up until this point. I'm
Yes.
like, what is happening?
Do you know what I hate about this movie? It made me feel like I was the problem for a little while. Where I was like, am I like
Wait, maybe
really stupid? I
maybe
just don't
it's
get
me.
this.
Maybe it's me. It's not you.
Maybe I'm the problem because this is not working for me. So the next morning, she wakes up and runs off when this guy spots her, and he literally chases her
This is
down.
wild. Yeah, this is in my notes.
It's like
not stop laughing.
he's like,
at this.
"Hey, you!" Right, and
Late-
she's just like, and she runs off. This guy jumps out of his car and chases after her for at least like a good mile.
They are running, falling, and sliding, and like
Yeah.
This is like somebody that an unhinged maniac. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our male lead for the movie.
Yeah.
It's like Tom Everett not, because he just fucking sucks. So then,
It's just funny because he's just like, "Hey, you!" and she's just like, "Fuck it!" and she runs away, and he's just chasing after her. And that's gonna be like your romantic leads.
It's like, what did you expect her to do in that scenario? Anybody would have done that. I would have did that.
It's
I
like-
would have ran the fuck away. Like, this guy, like, what is this guy? I did not understand this was the male lead until they forced it down my throat.
You know what's real weird too? He chases her down, corners her,
Yeah.
and then says, "Hey, you want to be in a movie?"
Yeah.
yeah, so he chases her down. This is the worst meet cute in like the cinema history because he like chases her down. He's like, "Hey, I'm an assistant director on a film called Shapeshifters Part 8, and I want to know if you want a job because wow, you look wild and beautiful. You're perfect for the job." And she's like, "Okay."
I don't have a choice.
Yeah, she's like, I guess
so.
I'll go with you.
Hey, well, he does buy her
I don't even
high
know
heels.
what movies are, but yeah. Like, 'cause she was like, up until this point, she doesn't know. We find out in a little bit, she doesn't even know what movies are.
What's funny is that right in my notes around this point, I started getting it started to scribble real fast, and it becomes harder and harder to read it. And underneath it, I just put, I literally cannot keep up with the snark this film is pulling from me. Like I was just like writing as fast as I could, and it's just like I can't keep up with how.
I knew it was going to be an adventure because Tyler, like rapid fire succession, was like, bam, 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 bam. Like, yeah, holy shit. I just couldn't. This is how you introduce your leads?
Yeah.
Like, it was like, I was like, is this going to be an assault scene? I thought she was going to be assaulted.
Yeah.
That's what
I
it looks
thought
like.
it was scary. I'm like,
But
Jesus
they played
Christ.
like that upbeat, like early '90s music.
She gets like
Like,
The
I
late
thought-
into
or-
like
yeah,
a dead
80s
end, and she literally scatters like left to right. She's like,
She can't get away.
like she can't get
Like-
away.
I'm trapped.
Yeah.
Like, you have to
How
picture this.
romantic.
Like, it literally looks like person taken out of their element because this tribe does not have a lot of contact with modern civilization, and she's scared and alone, and every interaction is a possible adversarial interaction. And that happened. I'm like, oh god, it's gonna be another thing she has to overcome. No, he's the male lead. He's the love interest.
yeah.
It,
He's like, I'm Johnny Martin.
Yeah.
Assistant
And
director.
she's never seen a movie, but again, they have a
Right.
TV in the cave, and I have to go back. Did we get to?
Wait,
Look,
wait,
go ahead.
before you move away from this part.
I'm going to go back,
'cause-
unfortunately.
What was his name? Because I just keep
Donnie
writing-
Martin.
Donnie Martin, because she's like, "Oh, that's your name," and he's like, "Well, what's your name?" She goes,
Jaboa,
Jaboa. And
Two first
that
names.
made me laugh really hard.
They both
that
have two
is
first
so
names.
stupid that I was like, "All right, you guys get
Two first
partial
names.
credit."
So there's a scene where Dr. what's his name? Breckmeyer, the scientist. Beckmeyer, and some other guy are in front of the Sydney Opera House.
Yeah.
Oh.
So it's essentially like they had, listen, we have 20 minutes in this scene right here. We have to get it just for context to say, no, we're in Sydney. Because there's no other way they could have shown that they were in Sydney.
Right.
They had to get that shot in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They did a lot of.
Yeah. No. I already went back. Let's go forward now. Let's
Yeah,
never
yeah,
go
so-
back again.
So she leaves. She goes with Donnie Martin. So then we cut to the same bus that we saw before, and I'm pretty sure it's just a reused shot.
Oh, it absolutely is.
And now,
Oh,
on
they
the
do that
interior-
several times in this
Yeah.
movie where they
Yeah.
reuse a shot.
He's like, all right, now we're jumping to scene 34.
So now we see three ladies disguised as nuns looking for Jaboa, and one, she's like, yeah, I already picked up her scent. And they're like, oh, okay. And then she like scares like a little
the little
kid.
boy, yeah.
Yeah. So then,
Which was one of my favorite parts of the movie.
this is one of my favorite parts. I actually have it right here. I kind of love the music in this movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it has like a weird like 80s. I don't know.
I felt like I was watching a 90210 episode when she was just kind of like kind of sitting and sunbathing.
There's
and
some
he's-
bops.
and,
Right.
and what's his name?
Donnie Martin.
Donnie Martin. Can't retain his name.
Tom Everett
He's got
Knott.
two first names, Rory.
Tom Everett not. Like, because he's like looking at her and there's just like fun like 90210 music playing and it's
Yeah.
kind of shot like it.
Yeah.
T-E-N.
Tom Everett not
Just call
is
him-
in fact his name.
Just call him 10.
Thank you.
10 from now on.
What's his name?
T-E-N.
Donnie Most?
Donnie Martin. So Jerboa is at the set of the film, and
Star Wars character.
Yeah.
Jaboa.
No, that's a planet that they have to travel to.
Let's go to the planet Jaboa.
Jaboa from the
it's the
village
second
of
moon
Flow.
of Dagobah. So Jerboa is on the set of the film, and she meets the director.
Oh my
Alfred
God!
Hitchcock?
Well, I was gonna say he had to be a parody of somebody,
Alfred Hitchcock.
but like
guess
a
so.
wild.
Yeah, that's what I
but
think.
but not just Alfred Hitchcock. Like if Alfred Hitchcock was some kind of kitsch,
Some pervy,
some pervy
director
kink,
that...
some German kink director.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah. No, I think it was supposed to be a take on Alfred Hitchcock because at one point when they were in Donnie Most's apartment. Yeah, I keep saying it. When they're in his apartment, there's like a Birds poster on the wall. There's a
Yeah.
couple little references to Hitchcock, which,
They
how
do.
dare you?
They reference that. They reference Alien.
Not in this movie.
Well, that's why they
Yeah.
had the. Well, we'll talk about it.
Yeah. So she meets the director, and he just talks about Andy Warhol and pop
Yeah.
culture for the first 5 minutes. of
And
the
you know
year.
he's a director because his collar is popped.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
and he has
Guy's-
glasses.
and he's
I
got
guess.
some, yeah.
And Donnie finds out Jerboa has never watched a movie in her life ever before. So Donnie,
She was like Vince before Freakquels.
yeah. So Donnie takes her to see the movie It Came from Uranus, and
Great name.
and that's the movie I wish we saw.
Oh yeah, because they did reference it came from Uranus and
Yeah.
a couple other movies.
I was like, oh, this movie looks great. It's like this nurse and she's taking care of the patient. And it
Some green
transforms.
guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of awesome. Hey, did you guys catch the cameo from the Geico caveman? Did you catch
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. So Jerboa watches the film and she sees the character in the film change into a werewolf. And at one point she's like, that's not how it happens. I'll show you how it happens. And Donnie is basically like,
Okay.
all right,
All right.
whatever. And so later on, Donnie and Jerboa are in bed, and they're discussing werewolf lore,
And they're so sweaty.
They're
and
in
they
a sauna.
Do anything.
pouring with sweat, like a
What a
ridiculous
choice!
amount of sweat.
What a choice!
Can I tell you what I think happened before they
Yes.
shot the scene? It's like the sweat guy
sweat
probably just came over with like a bucket
Put
of
it-
water, just tossed it on them.
Scoozy.
Action! Because I'm like, it's a comical amount of sweat.
It
It's the sweat before a heart attack.
Yeah.
I've never
I-
seen anyone sweat like
I
that.
was gonna say, well, you saw me sweat like that like 4 episodes ago.
There it
It's
is.
Halloween: The Curse of Michael Myers
Yeah.
to review Vince sweat.
Yeah.
I thought, oh, they just did it. They just made love. That's why they're so sweaty. And no, they hadn't yet.
They haven't
they
yet.
didn't even
Not yet.
get there yet. But they
They're
were
just like really out of shape. They're like
Yeah.
taking their clothes off. They're like, I need a minute. Hold on a
I
second.
need to lay down.
I live on the
Lay down for a sec.
the elevator's out. I live on the 99th floor.
The air conditioning was out on set.
Can we turn the air on?
You cool not to make love. You mind if we just maybe go to bed?
Let's relax for a couple minutes.
Can't even cut. I don't even want to be touched.
It sucks a grocery day.
You still in the mood? I don't know.
So steamy.
So they and then Jerboa is like, let's make love, right? So
I can't. I don't have the energy. No.
There is no liquid left in my body.
yeah, we cut over back to the professor. You remember the person you met earlier in the film? Because the last 20 minutes, it feels like he was not around.
Watch something completely.
Remember the guy you thought was your main character?
Yeah, and well, now he's back and he's watching movies and he wants to prove that werewolves are real. Him and his buddy, what's his the guy's name?
Colonel Cochran?
Yeah, whatever. I have it written later.
I think it was Martin Donnie.
Yeah, it was Danny Martin. It was like Sharp. I think it's Sharp.
It is, yeah.
It is sharp.
Yeah,
Fam,
Look sharp.
yeah, look Sharp.
fam, we really care and are trying hard. It's just so easy to forget some of these character names.
Yeah.
It is.
Hey, if they're not characters, it's hard to remember their names.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like that's
yeah.
not me trying to be funny.
No.
I'm just saying they're not very well defined characters.
He was just there and said words.
Yeah, they're just like read this
Gobbledygook.
first draft dialogue and see what happens.
Read the shit and make it work.
We can work in editing. The editor's like, not all the magic in the world, but
We'll do it in post.
That one line could be used to explain the movie.
So
you know that the people working on this in post, record-breaking deaths
Yeah, what did that character
from
say?
exhaustion and suicide.
6 suicides on this film.
1987 Australia.
That same character
Suicide rate
actually
was
said.
through the roof.
That same character actually said it's like a condom filled with dog shit and used as a flashlight. And I also have a note there, Rory. Your commentary on that.
Yeah.
It was like they were explaining some kind of weird situation and they
A UFO, and he said it's a condom filled with dog shit.
used as a flashlight, and I'm like,
Wasn't that the
Why?
plot synopsis on IMDb for this movie?
yeah, that's why I have your name next to my
Thank
note.
you.
Yeah.
I hope I was able to satisfy whatever you thought I was
You
going to give
did.
you.
I was in a fugue state. when I
So
wrote
we
that.
see where Jerboa is now filming and she's shooting her big scene, and really it's just like her screaming her best.
Yeah.
So that night,
I really like that director in the movie.
Yeah.
I like his it'll do approach to filmmaking.
Yeah, 'cause she wanted
it
to do
feels
another.
like it was inspired by someone else on set. That might also be a director. So
It was the craft services guy.
Yeah.
Let's move it along.
yeah. So that night
It'll
at the
do.
cast party, the lights are messing with Jerboa. They're like flashing, and so to get her mind off it, she hooks up with Donnie in the back room, but it doesn't.
So
Wait,
is
do
there
it
this
further?
thing where like she won't transform as long as she's bred?
Okay, so it's.
Oh, you have answers. Okay,
I do.
go ahead.
Man, you know, it's. I hate being the voice of reason.
I'm gonna go get another drink.
Hey, grab me one. Grab me one and call me a therapist. So it's Oh God, I'm gonna use the word canon. It was established at some point, and fam, I don't remember when it was established, that it wasn't the full moon. It wasn't like, because some of them can transform at will, like White Wolf canon. Strobing lights can trigger a fight or flight response, which triggers the transformation.
Right.
So
and we
which
find
is-
that out later on.
Which is
a
why
little
it
bit
comes into
more.
play later on, and which is why what happens later on is like, ha 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 ha. But strobing lights, like epilepsy, they actually reference that in the movie. It's like an epileptic seizure, and it's the flashing of photography or disco lights or dance lights.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question, EJ? Yes. Is there a reason why you took that water bottle and poured a thimble's worth of water into your cup?
Well,
Thank you.
I was like, will this be loud? And as soon as I poured one little bit, I went, yeah, that's
I
loud.
was just watching it. I'm like, what is he doing?
I basically have this water bottle and then a cup. And then I was like, I'm going to pour that in here because it's nice and cool, right? And so I'm like, oh, that's too loud.
I just thought
So
you
that's why
became
I
like
did
an
it.
art film.
Yeah, that was...
Listen, we're talking about the Howling 3. We don't need this
let's get
avant-garde
to-
bullshit.
I love that you want to talk about anything other than this movie, such as EJ pouring water into a fucking cup.
I'll be honest with
You
you.
noticed
What
that?
he was doing was far more
more
interesting
interesting.
to me than what I was seeing on the screen last night.
So back at the party, the werewolf nuns show up, full werewolf mode, and they pretty much.
And the director loved it.
Oh,
the
God, yeah.
director
He loved the
invites him,
makeup.
he's like,
Oh, come
"Wow,
in, please.
Come in.
Yeah,
he invites
you
him
look
in.
wonderful.
Then everyone's like running out and like screaming.
Which needed some comical music because it kind of plays comically.
Like the Benny Hill music.
Yeah, like.
So Donnie finds Jerboa because she like ran off, and she was hit by a car, and so she's taken to the hospital.
That fish eye runner. I love that shot. I don't know
It's
why.
neat.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a positive.
Hey,
we
we
found
did
it.
it.
Also, just before, with you, what you just said, she got hit by a car. The movie forgot to show us.
Right. Yeah.
She's just running away, and the next time you see her, it's like there's like an ambulance. And they're just putting her on a stretcher, and I'm like, what happened?
They spent all the budget on stools and rope.
Ooh, we're gonna talk about that too.
Dude, their budget was about $20. And whatever was laying around, they got to use.
Yeah.
It was wild because Rory goes, so the main character gets hit by a car, and I'm like, wait, did she? And we had to talk through it. Like, oh, she did get hit by a car.
I looked over to Beck. I'm like, was I writing something down in my notes and I missed it? And she's like, no. I'm like, no. Who thought that was okay?
And how about the lead? What's his name? Martin.
Donnie Martin.
Donnie Martin.
Tom Everett.
Donnie
Not.
Tom Everett not.
He's like, but I love her, and it's like, bestie, you've known her for 2 days.
I love that delivery too. He's like, but I love her.
I love
It's
her.
like,
We're gonna take her to the okay, buddy. We get it. Which
make
is
it all about you, Tom Everett not.
And I'm like, I'm kind of like good for you in a way because you were like a serial assaulter in the first 3 seconds we've seen you, and it was like, but it
was an arc.
And then
we can put that in the positive column.
And then,
he had an arc.
And then by the end of it, he turns into Jeff Goldblum from Jurassic Park.
Oh my God, Tyler said that too. And he's
Jesus
like,
Life,
oh my
finds a
God.
way.
Life finds a way.
Werewolves.
I'm gonna reference
away.
Tyler's not even here. He's here in spirit. So like whatever.
So-
I also want to
moon
mention real
finds
quick.
a way.
Finds a way.
Do you see what beer you're drinking?
Yeah.
What is it called?
Vanilla Wolf.
Vanilla Wolf.
Did you even notice you did that?
I you know what? I saw
Subconsciously?
that. You know what? It was.
Yeah. All right, EJ, let's get back to
Did
this
you
movie
also
before.
notice that before you open that can, you had also transformed into a werewolf?
Yeah.
Did you notice that?
Did you notice EJ dropping a pill into your? No, I didn't.
I notice every time, but I act like I don't see it.
He likes to play that game.
Yeah.
Too.
I just like knocking people
Like,
out.
it just leaves me places. That's it. I wake up on the
How'd I get
highway.
here?
Why are my hands?
Again.
Hey, does this smell like chloroform?
So the professor gets a call, and him and his pal Sharp go to see this girl, and she has this unique anatomy that they haven't seen before. And by the way, in this room, examining her is pretty much everyone that could be in the hospital, because there's about like 50 people in this room watching this examination.
I feel like all the patients were hunched over looking too.
Every staff member, the janitor to like every nurse.
Yeah, and
And I was going to say, I think there was not one female in the room as they're examining her, which I felt was kind of like a
that
little...
that was kind of like.
That's weird.
Maybe we should have a female in here.
Right.
No, let's just poke and prod at her.
So the nuns show up at the hospital, and they cause a little chaos. We don't see it. We just see the after effects
why-
of everyone.
why would
dying.
you?
Yeah, right.
It's almost like that scene would have made this movie more enjoyable.
Yeah, but they didn't have the budget for it, obviously.
Yeah, so
and
they were
so
just
they're like,
like-
we'll just show the after effects of everyone just laying on the ground.
Was the director sitting on the commentary that you listened to talking about how it was subversive?
No,
Actually,
I just assumed they were all hit by a car because I didn't see it. So I just
I thought they were all just sleeping.
he was talking about
The
how
movie
we were
didn't tell me.
all up our own asses and too pretentious to understand what the comedic vision was. was for the. No, I don't know, man.
Very
Like
funny.
I'm just trying to make.
You're trying to bring some logic to this.
Yeah.
We're all
I
trying to
appreciate
process
it.
And
this.
I don't like being logic guy. I'm just. I don't know. I don't even know.
Hey man,
I
we're
don't even
usually
know.
the guys that are just like, yeah, it's not so bad.
That's how nuts this movie is. We have a full role reversal right now.
It transformed us into monsters.
Oh my god!
Wow.
Oh my god! it
My
works.
parents are
Yeah.
right. Why is that a reoccurring theme today? Maybe I got to process that. Okay, what were we talking about?
Oh
this
yeah,
movie.
the
Okay.
nuns get Jerboa, and they hop on a bus back to wherever they're from. And so
Same bus.
Beckmeyer
Flo.
and
They're from
Sharp
Flo.
start to question Donnie about Jerboa and if they boing. And Donnie was like, "Are you guys for real?" And
How
they're
dare
like,
you ask me that."
Give us all the details.
Yeah,
'cause
we did.
We also think she's pregnant.
He totally.
And
had
here's the
that
weird
attitude
thing.
about it.
Here's the
Yeah, we
weird thing.
did.
It
Oh,
took
yeah,
me
we did.
We got
till
pictures.
like maybe another story beat or a while to realize that what we were seeing in the hospital room wasn't a scar, and I'm like, that's not in the right place for us. What is that? And that was the pouch. That was the vestigial pouch. Not vestigial, but
Pouch was cool.
Pouch is
No one's saying the pouch wasn't cool.
Yeah.
Pouch
So-
was awesome.
Well, we'll talk about the practical effects later because like there's
I'd
some
like
wild
to
shit.
Yeah.
There's 10 minutes of awesomeness later on
Like
in this movie.
they
yeah.
really went hog. With
So
the
much
practical
fur.
effects. Yeah.
Yeah.
And not to mention that scene, somehow this movie's PG-13. But go
Well,
ahead.
the thing, and with the, are we at the point with the nightmares yet, or are we at the point?
No,
where
You know why that is, Vince? I can answer that. I also have information.
Australia.
Well, it was PG-13 because nobody on the censor board actually bothered to watch this.
They didn't care.
They got about 20
They got 20 minutes in and they're like,
This
fuck
feels
this.
long.
Or they did, and they
They thought
poisoned
they were 20
themselves
minutes in,
before they could actually render reverse.
They don't remember.
But yeah,
Just give it a PG-13.
so
That'll work.
Beckmeyer and Sharp tell
wanna go
Donnie,
home.
"Hey, Jerboa is pregnant, and you are probably the father." So back at Jerboa's, the pack is up to some like ritual stuff. Meanwhile, we cut to a ballet dancer.
Wait, let's-
This comes out of nowhere.
Wait.
Okay, go ahead.
Before.
Yeah.
So the nuns go and they track her down, right?
Right.
Then they bring her back to Flo.
Yeah.
Okay? And then within 10 minutes, no one's watching her and she's able to escape again.
Correct.
Yes.
And did you guys notice what Flo spelled backwards is?
Wolf.
I mean, how fucking
clever.
lazy was that?
Yeah,
clever.
I was waiting. I was hoping one of you was gonna pick that shit out. I almost
How
kicked
clever.
the table. I'm like, son of because we're watching it, and Tyler goes, "Wait a minute, Flo," and I looked at the sign and went, "Those sons of bitches!" I couldn't believe they fucking.
How
I'm like,
clever.
Flo, that's so stupid. It's so stupid, Flo. Why is it? Oh my god, it's wolf backwards. Fuck me.
Yeah. I was like,
Oh, my
not
God.
a fan. Not
No.
a fan. So meanwhile, we cut to a ballet dancer. And
She's a really
who
good
may
Czech actress,
or may
by the
not
way.
be a werewolf.
Yeah, coming up on my favorite scene.
And she gets really turned at she sees a drawing of Thilo, and she's like, "Ugh,
She's her noises. It's like growling and clicking, and
Yeah,
it's
she's
just
Yeah. Fun fact about her: she's a really good Czech actress, and she actually told the director, "You don't have to use a lot of-
chick or check.
Czech,
check,
Czech,
check."
Czech."
Yeah,
Thank you for clarifying. And she's able to contort her face like they're like. The joke was, "You don't have to use prosthetics with me because I'll just make the faces."
Yeah.
And it was like, but she was wild.
We'll have to check.
She
yeah.
like that. She was a decent character actor.
And she actually,
And she-
in all fairness, she probably was the best actress in
Yeah,
this movie.
yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
And also broke new grounds in cinema. The very first character in all of cinema history to have Mr. Magoo fetish.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So she sees this picture, and she's like, "Ugh."
It's the prophecy.
And she's
She knows.
and so she's like, they better get to rehearsal. So she goes out to rehearsal, and for some fucking reason, Beckmeyer and Sharp are there. They're just like
I
sitting.
had that
And
in my
wait.
notes. It's like, why? How they keep fucking showing up? And I was like, well, because they know stuff. And I'm like,
This is my favorite scene. There's a scene where you see them sitting, and Sharp turns back and waves at the director, and that's it.
yeah.
Yeah. Why are they there?
But not only that, why did you choose to put that 2-second clip in this fucking movie? Like, how does this bring anything to this movie?
If we are to believe,
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Did you see that scene?
if
I saw that and I was like, oh my God, this is cinematic history right here.
Yeah.
This is
If
great.
we are to believe the director and the crew,
Damn it.
they wanted to make something batshit. Now, I
Well,
don't
they
know.
got the shit right.
Yes.
Yeah, they got the shit part right. They're halfway there.
You could cut 30 minutes out of this movie and still be utterly confused.
That's it. Yeah,
I mean,
that's
you
very
cut
accurate.
the whole movie and would do a lot of people a favor.
You could add 20 minutes and it would still be confusing.
And just a guy at the end explaining what happened, you still be, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is like,
Oh my God.
all right, so like imagine you're at a bar and some aspiring film guy that's like maybe 20 years older than you is really drunk and he's explaining his magnum opus that he's never practiced and never made. And that's this movie. This
And it
movie
got
is-
made.
And it got made.
And they gave him a budget. And
Oh,
Yeah.
well, I'll tell you what this. Well, I can tell you what the effects budget is later.
Yeah.
But
Oh yeah. We'll get. Yeah.
I'll tell you what that is.
Probably a lot of change.
So these guys are just like, oh yeah, there's a woman werewolf out there who murdered a whole hospital staff. Let's take in some opera or some ballet for the afternoon. So
And not even ballet rehearsal.
and it's a rehearsal, yeah. So they're just sitting in on this rehearsal, and so Olga,
They got
this
that opera
dancer
house.
who is probably a werewolf, ends up transforming into a werewolf, and so she starts
scene.
eating one of the dancers, like this guy. He's like
As he
jumping.
leaps, he
Yeah.
does a leap and
He-
then
he leaps in the air
She-
like 4 or 5 times, and she then grabs him with.
I will say this:
I don't
she
know.
transforms while she pirouettes, and the transformation's happening.
pretty fantastic.
And yeah, and the director's rationale was, I wanted to find the most inappropriate,
Time.
and inconvenient times for transformations.
That's a good head on your shoulders to have when making a movie.
I'm telling you what he said. I'm not justifying anything. But yeah, that was his rationale, and also they were like, the opera house, we just got it. We figured, well, we could just say it's rehearsal. So
Well,
we
it's
don't have to
also
hire any extras.
Like, I also feel like they're like, okay, well, we're here, we have it, we're already in the let's just get a shot. Let's just do it.
That's what happened, because they were like, well,
So
we
many
don't have to
times in this
justify.
movie.
They're like, we don't have to pack any extras.
Justify anything in this movie.
In here. No.
Hey, just real quick thing I want to throw in here. This was the point when I realized that this may have been 3 different scripts mashed together, because it starts off and it's like this sort of almost like Prince of Darkness kind of thing, where it's a bunch of scientists talking.
There's a lot of science and then supernatural stuff,
Yeah,
and then
there comes a point in the movie where I got excited because I thought it was going to be this film about a werewolf movie being filmed, and then there's a werewolf
out,
in
yeah,
it, and
that's
I was
exactly
like,
what
yeah,
I
this
thought.
movie's going to be awesome, and then it's quickly dispatched.
yeah, you thought there was going to be some meta commentary on the in-universe
Something like
thing.
that, something clever, and then there was like a Hills Have Eyes, Wrong Way type story going on.
Right.
We got Black Swan in here.
Yeah,
It's just a mess. It's a
It's a
tackle
mess.
box of genres and nonsense.
Yeah. So the scene like ends where basically this guy leaps into the air and the wolf bites the guy, and the next scene starts right away that they're in the hospital and somehow
She's tied down, yeah.
they captured this dancer werewolf.
It took
Olga.
several men to bring her down, I believe
And
they said.
they're now examining her, and her friend, who was like showed her the drawing, shows up in werewolf
her husband.
form.
I'm assuming her husband.
no, he
No.
was no. He was
was
like,
just like
a close personal friend.
Yeah.
I thought he, like, the guy in the drawing, he's the patriarch of that group. Like, he's the leader. I'm assuming that, like, he's the Serbian leader of the Serbian werewolves.
He was maybe some kind of like,
You know what?
we don't know.
That's amazing.
What is
because
it?
I did not get any of that.
I don't know. It's so wild because they try to build rapport with her, and they kind of do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
So-
he.
So this guy, he shows up and he's in werewolf form, and he takes, he ends up attacking some of the people in the hospital. And he gets shot to death.
Sharp ends up shooting him several times, I believe.
Yeah, but the dancer gets loose
shoot,
and
yeah.
throws one of Beckmeyer's guys out the hospital window.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And it's like the longest fall in cinema history.
And
It's-
then cue the reggae music.
yeah,
It
but
was-
the catch is, as he falls to his death, reggae music comes on, and the lyrics are like, "I fall down."
Yeah, I was gonna say-
fall down.
I fall down, and he's literally. It was like. Man, Hans Gruber had nothing on this.
On that
This
fall?
was like-
No, this fall.
No,
I
it
also
was
had a
epic.
Hans Gruber joke, but
See, I was worried I was going to ruin all of our friendships with this, but I'm
You're
glad.
good, man. You're
In
good.
the
You can have it. You earned
trajectory,
it.
like if you actually pay attention, he literally falls from the top of the hospital, like from the roof, and then falls all the way down. And we see him just like float all the way
Dude,
down.
And then,
Yeah.
because I
And
watched
as
it.
this music is playing.
It was
And I
like-
watched it like 3 times just to be
I
like,
have that written down. I
what's
fall down.
happening?
So I always watch this with subtitles on,
Yeah.
and it says up, and it literally as he's falling, it says
Upbeat
up tempo
reggae
up tempo reggae music, and then thud.
Yeah.
So the music starts before, and then he.
Yeah.
Hey man,
Jesus
continuity
Christ.
ain't shit in this film, so like whatever.
This scene elicited a response from me.
A visceral
That-
one.
No, it's I haven't felt it since I saw the movie Cats, where my brain at this point shut down and I was staring at the screen
To protect
with my
itself.
mouth hanging open
To protect itself.
I wasn't there.
Yeah, it was fun. It was just.
EJ is so.
We were-
EJ has
we were-
EJ.
Rory into
I was
a medical
crying. I was
induced
laughing.
coma.
I was laughing so hard. I fall down, and he's just like
Oh,
wafting.
I literally felt myself leave my body.
Yeah,
It's like,
EJ is doing this thing throughout this episode where he's literally covering his face and touching his face, not because he almost wants to like not have to see it, type of thing. It's so bad.
so bad. So the next day, Beckmeyer and Sharp head to Jerboa's village, and they're driving along in their Jeep, and they stop, and the cops are like, "Oh yeah, it's straight up ahead." And behind the bushes, hiding, is Donnie, who's like following them on foot. As they're driving a Jeep. I didn't understand that because he just like pops up out of the bushes and he sees them.
Which
and he's
He's there.
Donnie.
Who?
Tom Everett Knott.
Oh, thank you.
And so he's just like pops up in the bushes, and this reggae music
Like he was
is
there the whole
still
time.
playing. Yeah, it's just like he's there
that
the
was
whole time
weird, the
waiting
fact-
for them, and he's like, okay, now I make my move.
that was weird. And the fact that gin was $31 a bottle in this movie for some reason.
Yeah.
It's good gin.
So Beckmeyer and Sharp get to town and meet some locals, and one of them is like this Aboriginal.
He jump scares him too, doesn't he?
He
Yeah.
does that
Yeah,
a lot. I love him. He is one of my
He
favorite.
was,
Now
he was
he-
the best character.
He is. Is this a crazy eyebrows?
Yeah.
Those eyebrows, my God.
I don't know who this actor was,
Yeah.
but I loved him. Like, holy shit. Holy shit.
He didn't even need to act. I feel like that's just who he
I
is
think
as a
that's just
person.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I don't think he's acting at all. And so then
Wait, which character?
Handman, the guy who you could just see his hand at the beginning, and he's got these crazy eyebrows.
I'm not even kidding. My brain shut
is-
down. I don't remember any of these characters.
He is the older Aboriginal fellow that helps them out while they're in the bush, while they're walking
Yeah.
around, and he, like he shows
I
up.
thought he was a dream.
yes, yeah, that guy.
That guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Jerboa, meanwhile, is giving birth on a pile of hay because she like runs off to like this shed and she like sits on a pile of hay. And I just have to say, I was not a fan of this scene.
Hey man,
Because
well,
it
yeah.
went on very long, where we see like this little creature, her giving birth to this creature, and then it climbs up and makes its way into her stomach, like the sack.
The pouch. Okay.
Or her pouch, yeah.
Do you want to know how they did that?
No.
You're not gonna fucking believe it.
I think we will.
Oh no, you're not going to. I can have you guess. So first of all, what's interesting is the character's like, I don't want to be a werewolf, but she's a mom now, so she's whole hog. Okay, so let's play a game. Well, actually, I don't want to waste time. How do you think they shot and they made this scene? All right, well, let's just talk about it. All right. I'm not.
None of us wanna
I'm sick of
guess.
that. No, we want this over with. I'm done suffering. So, you know what they did? So the budget for this film, for the effects, was $80,000, which back then was a lot. Okay, but you have to think about the fact that high quality wigs, especially back then, was $2,000. So full body hair suits, multiply that by half a dozen, they burned through that budget. So when they did this scene, they studied a lot of how marsupials give birth. They give birth, and then the semi-fetal baby crawls up. goes into the pouch and latches on, right?
Yeah.
They actually got a live mouse, put it in a werewolf suit, sedated it, killed the first mouse by accident. Did it
This is
again.
making me love this movie even
Get
more.
it again.
Yeah.
Put it in a gross fetus werewolf suit.
Wait, did you say that they got a mouse?
They
and
got a
then-
live mouse
and then put it in a werewolf
Yes,
suit?
they made a fetal werewolf contraption, prosthetic suit for it.
Well, these people sound like assholes.
Yes, because why would you? It's animal torture. Then what they did,
Well, they're just mice.
because they couldn't get the well, no,
mice, young
this-
Vince.
They couldn't get
Not
it
on this show.
They couldn't get it to do crawl where they needed to crawl. So what they did is they shot it in reverse. They actually put the mouse backwards in the pouch and then ran the tape backwards. So what you're seeing is actually a mouse
It's escaping for its life.
in prosthesis escaping for its life backwards. That's how they did that.
That is awful.
I could never, if you had asked me, I don't know. I don't have any more words. I don't know.
That's
But that's how they did that shit.
Looked great though.
I mean, why do the movements look so realistic? Because it's a struggling animal fighting for its fucking life.
So one of go ahead.
Go ahead, Vince.
No, mine is dumb. One of my
ahead.
biggest pet peeves in life is when someone refers to a koala as a koala bear. It drives me absolutely
Drop bears?
bonkers because it's not a bear; it's a marsupial.
Correct.
So when marsupials give birth, they literally give birth, and then the parent will create a trail of
Right.
like the embryonic fluid.
That's why she
to
did
the
that thing.
pouch, which is why she's like kind of dragging
Correct.
her finger. Because what they'll do is they'll pull the embryonic fluid up to where the pouch is to encourage it to try and eat its way into the pouch.
Wow, it sounds like they put more time into researching
No, they
this
did.
than they did actually writing their script.
And but Rory, that's exactly what they did. Because the director goes,
And it shows.
the director goes, "Well, I love the Tasmanian tiger. The thylacine." He's like, "I studied a lot of," and then the special effects artist went, "We watched a lot of footage of marsupials giving birth."
And then we forgot to write the script, and we were like, "Oh shit, we're filming in like 2 hours.
We spent all this time researching marsupials.
That's all we got." Hey, I have 2 notes
yeah.
because the animal
Only
abuse
2?
thing is sad.
Yeah.
So my stupid notes say this: when she goes into the barn and she lied down on the hay.
Yeah.
I wanted the Invisible Man to go, "Ouch!" And then
What's that smell?
And then also following the scene, I wrote, following the marsupial birth, I thought to myself, this actress probably goes through life white-knuckled, hoping that nobody recognizes her from this film.
Oh my god. She
She was great though.
Well, yeah, that's
She's wild looking.
She's so wild looking.
No, it's funny because
And beautiful.
in real life,
wild
people
looking.
are probably like, "Hey, weren't you in?" And then she tightens up and they go, "Queen of the Damned." Because you were the vampire in the bar.
Oh, yes,
I
yeah,
looked
yeah,
up her filmography,
Nice.
and that's the highlight.
good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We loved you, Joboa.
Jaboa.
So we see where Olga
The Jaboa cry.
makes her way to the tribe, and she starts making out with Thylo, and everyone's
But-
pumped, and they have like a little
Wait,
jam circle.
but this is right before you missed the part, which was my other favorite scene, where Thylo goes to the turtleneck store and buys himself a nice black turtleneck
Holy
to bring back to
shit.
the.
Yeah.
Where did he get that turtleneck from?
I have no idea.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
These are questions that I don't ask.
Did you notice that he was wearing a turtleneck out of nowhere?
yeah.
Okay, good.
Looked like an uncircumcised penis.
Yep. So Beckmeyer meets up with the military, and they are planning a peaceful attack. Meanwhile, Donnie finds Jerboa, and she shows him the baby. And somehow Jerboa knows that the cops and military are in the area, so they need to leave now.
Hey,
They never explain how she knows.
Tom Everett, not
Yes.
super cool about all this.
Yeah, he's like,
He just
"Oh,
wants
cool."
to be there for his baby.
Yeah.
For
He's
his,
just
for his
very
demon
accepting
baby.
of the weird hand that was dealt to him.
And
Yeah.
also instantly becomes a bushman. Also instantly knows how to live outdoors without any skills or... He lived in New York City almost his entire life.
No,
and
the
now all
entire
of a
time
sudden-
I'm
Or
watching
was it
him.
in L.A. or I don't even know.
It was in L.A.
It was Sydney, Australia.
Oh, it was somewhere. Who
And
cares?
we know it was Sydney because of that 20-second shot showing
Of the upper.
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
The entire time I'm watching him dick around in the woods, I'm just sitting there thinking, like, that guy just lost his job on that film set.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was getting like nervous. I'm like, dude, people are waiting on you.
You're like, it's like 3 months for you, homie.
There's
Really?
also a scene
AD.
of Jerboa and Donnie Martin with the. There's also a scene where they're like sitting by a waterfall and they're talking, and then maybe 5 scenes later, it's the same thing, but they try to make it look like a new location, which I thought was like, that's. Oh.
They're like, just move the camera over 5 feet.
No. You can move it 10 or 20 feet to make it look different. No.
We
Could
got
you,
this.
could you go get like a plant? See.
I'm usually so observant.
Like a
I
house
did
plant?
not notice that at all. I think I was.
Where you're out in nature, there's a bunch of trees and bushes.
No,
I need a house
trust me.
plant.
Trust me, this could be a thing.
Don't worry,
gonna
we'll
take
fix it in
off.
post.
So at camp, the military are successful in capturing the Klan without any incidents. Beckmeyer asks Olga, the dancer, to let him help her. He's like, come on, I'll get you out of here. I'm going to help you out. He just has like this
Becomes
turn.
infatuated with her.
Yeah. She talks about the history and how they're actually victims and how she's a very, very sympathetic character at this point.
Yeah.
But he just like is obsessed with her.
Yeah.
He's, I don't know. I was like, is he like picking up pheromones? Why is
Yeah.
he 180ing so quickly?
Beckmeyer puts her under hypnosis, hoping to get
Which is
the
another
answers.
wild thing. That's not how that works.
And she claims to, be part human, part wolf. And so then he goes and he starts to question Thilo, and they try to induce his transformation, which they just get a bunch of lights and flash them in his face.
his dialogue is the wildest, though.
Oh, yeah. Thilo, the performance from Thilo, I actually was like, I don't know if this guy rules or just sucks.
Yeah,
I know he
I
was
couldn't
in
figure it out.
The
Mad
answer
Max.
is yes.
Why did you think this was going to happen? My mother told me because of the prophecy. Because somebody from Europe was going to get me laid or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. And it was just like, holy shit.
You know what I was hoping would happen in this scene? When they were like flashing the lights in his face and he was started like twitching, they're like, he's turning into a werewolf. It's like, no, he's just epileptic.
They referenced that he was laughing the whole time. Why do you think his name was Thilo? Because the Tasmanian tiger is the thylacine.
How embarrassing.
God damn.
No, that's not.
So
Compared to other things, no.
the
it's not that
flashing
bad.
lights,
Flow.
they work.
Flow
And-
is about as embarrassing as
Flow.
it gets.
Yeah. So Thilo breaks loose and he bites Beckmeyer, and then Sharp shouts, Thilo, or shoots Thilo with the trank, and he's like, hey, maybe you're going to be one of them now because it looks like you got like a neck wound. He's like,
Nah.
I'm good.
That's not how it works.
That's not how it works. It has to be body fluids. I should be all right. And he's not even like, nah, I should be. He's like, I'm all right. I'm going to be good. Don't worry about it.
Again,
EJ, real quick thing for you.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you powering through this
oh
plot.
my god, no.
I really do.
No,
I
no,
was
no
like,
idea.
oh, thank God we're moving.
Rory,
As I said before, EJ's carrying this. His back must hurt.
yeah,
Because,
He-
like,
he's at a dead sprint now, just sprinting to the end of this movie.
There's
And
a
I
couple
tried
of points
so
where it's
hard.
like you're just like, oh yeah,
Just
let's get
he
into
keeps
the plot.
flipping his page like, how much more? How much more? How much more?
I'm just
I see like
God damn
sweating
it.
just looking how much plot's
I
left.
have survivor's guilt.
Yeah. Yes.
Because it's like... I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You know,
that's what this movie gives
just
you.
Before we move forward, I just wanted to point out something. I had in my notes that there's a monkey acting his ass. He's just acting his ass.
Oh,
off,
look at him!
right?
Yeah.
Again, animal actors, baby.
Yeah, which is great, but I did get a message from all the animals that worked in this movie, and they all collectively asked me not to talk about any of them. They would like to forget this experience.
Because they are very more professional than anybody else that was in this.
They were. That monkey was really good.
He
Like,
was
I'm not
good.
even fucking around.
I don't know how they got...
And again,
Yeah.
he freed the Thailand, whatever his name was,
Thilo.
and the chick, and they just left the monkey.
Oh, well,
They
yeah.
coulda let the monkey
so
out.
The government wants to kill them all, and Beckmeyer isn't crazy about that. So Beckmeyer gets Olga, and he and Thilo, and he breaks them out. Like he helps them escape. And then Beckmeyer crashes through the police barricade, which is actually just a pile of hay. Like hay stacked on hay. So the police are like there, like they have like the barricade, and Beckmeyer just drives through it. And I'm like, it's just hay. Like they like that was not gonna stop anyone.
Like, it was. I thought of that. I thought of that. I thought of you, and I thought of that Archie's movie we watched where they just drive the
yeah.
hay. And it was just like... Okay.
Yeah.
That happened.
That happened. All right. So
And, yeah.
that was like their big action scene. So meanwhile,
Well, they got that instead of hitting her with a car.
Did,
so.
did
Right.
anybody else feel like roles kept flipping in this? Because I have in my notes, like, I don't know, in all caps, I don't know who is good and who isn't in this movie.
I'm like
could not
Tally.
figure-
I have no idea
it
what's
goes
going
back
on.
and forth the whole time because at first it's like, oh, Jerboa, the nuns, Philo, no, Olga, no, Beckmeyer, no, and back to forget
Dude,
it.
this script was written on a lovely afternoon.
Yes. So meanwhile, a group of hunters are closing in on Donnie, Jerboa, and the baby.
And this is the group that was in Crocodile Dundee, just so you know. So if you want to reference
Right.
it, you can go back and look
There's a
here.
group of bush mercenaries that spy on them. So imagine this, if you will, dear listener. It was the waterfall scene. So it's just Jerboa, Donnie Most, the
TEN.
baby, whatever, and they're just having a little family thing, and she's with the baby, but these two bush guys are like, we're gonna fucking hunt and track these guys. Let's go get more people, and like
Yeah.
it's fucking. So you saw like, we're gonna get these freaks. All right, whatever. But you saw like people in the bush, and you decide you're gonna hunt them, and who are you gonna get paid by?
Right. Yeah.
Like,
There's-
what is
No,
that?
they just want to kill for the pleasure of it.
Yeah.
I know that feeling.
All I know about
Yeah.
this moment is that I checked the time and I still had like 35 minutes left and I got
Yeah.
mad.
Oh.
So
You're welcome.
the Aboriginal elder, he shows up and he tells them about a dream he had.
Kendi, I love him so much.
And he's like, you need to leave because the Phantom says so. So Beckmeyer somehow...
It sounds like a t-shirt.
I know.
You
it's-
gotta leave because the Phantom says so.
Listener, the Phantom is the primordial spirit, not
Right.
God, but the over werewolf spirit that is the reason.
Gobbledygook.
And he is either good or bad, and nobody knows and nobody cares.
Yes. So Beckmeyer gets Olga and Philo back, and the hunters discuss some bullshit looking for any marsupials. Eventually, they get taken out by the elder of Jerboa's tribe, and Jerboa finds him and tries to confront him, and the one elder, he ends up dying, and she's like, oh, we're gonna get you some help. He's like, no way, I'm just going to die. And he
Okay,
just dies.
okay.
It's
That I
awesome.
have that in my notes. All right, so like the whole thing where like she says you'll be over with rain because they were trying to reference like the rainbow syrup and all kinds of things.
Yeah.
You'll be with the rainbows in heaven, whatever. And he
float
goes,
down the river and turn into the river. And
right, you'll be the river, and he goes, I'm just gonna die, and then he does.
No, his literally last words are, no way, I'm just going to die.
I'm gonna die, and he does. It was this most heartfelt moment, and like the whole. If you're gonna picture the scene,
It was
the whole
heartfelt
thing
at
is,
all.
No, it was awful.
it was they were trying to make it that, but before
Yeah.
that, like the whole thing is just like they're praying to the Phantom to transform them. So like Thala's like, make me an instrument of whatever, and he transforms this giant thing and kills. And they shoot a
Oh, yeah,
rocket,
that's later,
and
yeah.
they blow. I'm like, is he dead? Yeah, they're dead. And then Kendi does the same thing but only he wants because like Thalo's like, fuck this, I'm gonna go do my own thing. And then
Yeah.
Olga realizes like she's not. And then like she's like, what are you trying to do? And he leaves. And then Kendi's like, no, I'm going to do this thing to protect people. So he gives himself over to the Phantom. But it's like, I don't really understand how wounded he was. And then she's like, you're going to be the river. You're going to cross the rainbow. You're going to be in heaven. I'm going to die. And then he just dies.
No,
No,
I'm
I'm
just
gonna die.
going to die.
It was like the most
so the way
And
you've
the
the way you just explained it is kind of confusing, but somehow less confusing than actually watching the movie.
The thing is that is how it was imparted to me. And like I don't
All I know is
I
that
just
in
don't know.
my little note that I wrote, it says, no way, I'm going to die, and then ... I envy him.
Yeah, I know.
So that we have that nice
scene.
we have that nice moment, and then the movie ends, right?
Nope.
No.
Oh,
It's going to go on for 30
Hey,
more minutes.
everybody listening at home,
30 more
everything
minutes,
that we're
30.
saying right now, if this sounds like it doesn't make sense,
It doesn't.
it doesn't.
Yeah.
Because you were just explaining something, Carmen, and I thought my nose was bleeding.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, I'm like,
It's not your nose, it's your ear.
I watched
your ears
this
are
movie
bleeding.
and I don't
My brain
remember
just
it.
hemorrhaged.
I don't know what happened.
I'm gonna love with you because
I just want to stop.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this anymore.
watched this Monday, and I legitimately was like, I should probably watch this a second time.
No.
And
And
your body rejected it.
you took the words right the fuck out of my mouth. I couldn't. I just didn't have it
He
in
tried
me.
to like raise his hand and it stops.
Yeah, it's like, no. Yeah, it's just...
I needed to call somebody.
Yeah.
It needed to be protected from this movie. But it was, I don't know, man. Like
An experience.
It was
an
a bad experience.
Like, but like I said, if you got together with a group of people and threw this on and riffed,
Yeah.
it would be fun.
That's
I
probably
cannot
the only way
imagine-
to like
In
enjoy
theory.
this.
I
In
cannot
theory.
imagine you guys watching this by yourselves. And I
did.
Well, I don't
It's
apologize,
sad.
but I'm just saying. Like,
I'm telling you, I didn't. And then
And
eventually,
it's,
I was very alone because I looked over at Becca and she was out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, you take the coward's way out.
So Jerboa, Donnie, and Thilo and Olga and Beckmeyer, they have a funeral for
So
this
many
guy.
people.
They literally have a
And-
pyre funeral.
Yeah, like a
cremation funeral.
pyre funeral for this guy. And out of nowhere, Donnie starts shit with Thilo.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Where are you, man?
What are you
What's
looking
going
at?
on you?"
Stop looking at me.
And Philo's feelings are hurt, so he's like, I'm out of here.
Yeah, you don't look
and
at
so he
people like
walks
that.
off. So then the military shows up, and they find the burnt skeleton of
Oh,
that
yeah.
elder.
Oh yeah.
And it pops up and it tries to bite one of the soldiers, and they just blow it away. They just like,
He unloads an entire clip,
yeah,
Fam.
it's like a full clip into the skeleton.
which his
It
gun
is-
was one of the weirdest guns I've ever seen.
And it is just a skeleton.
and it's just a
There is
skeleton.
nothing there.
So
Ah,
Philo does a quick ritual to turn into the big one, and so
He's asking for
Make
it.
me the
Right.
big one, and I'm like the fucking big one.
yeah.
All
and
right.
So two soldiers are out there in their tent, and Philo shows up as this giant marsupial werewolf
Thing.
and he eats one guy. And the other guy is questioning. He's like,
He's
y'all
in the
right,
tent.
Y'all
Y'all
right?
right?
Y'all right?
He says it
all right about
20
6
times.
or 7 times.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like a million.
yeah, a
times.
million times. And then
He's just singing the song Revolution.
and luckily, yeah, luckily the soldier he sleeps with a rocket
bazooka.
launcher next to him.
Yes, rocket
And-
propelled grenade.
Yeah.
On his, yeah.
RBGs.
and just
Yeah.
boom, shoots Thilo with it, and they all die.
They all-
It's a beautiful.
Yeah.
And then the movie ends, right? And we
No.
can. Oh no.
Puppetry
Okay.
was the prosthetic was great.
Meanwhile,
Practical effects was
Hey,
great.
can you guys confirm that everything you just said actually happened?
Okay,
Yes,
yeah.
it
So
did.
yes,
It
a
did, okay.
giant
It just took-
marsupial werewolf head entered the tent.
Yeah.
And they shot an RPG into it, and everybody died, including Thilo. That's how
Yeah.
Thylo's story arc ended.
Okay,
Yeah.
so 24 hours ago, I watched this movie, and I don't remember that.
Yeah. Well,
What is
again, okay, so that
Yeah.
actually makes me feel really good because I'm driving here going, oh god, I can't remember a goddamn thing. I
Well,
just watched it.
It doesn't
I-
matter. We already hate you. So go
Yeah.
ahead.
So again, echoing
was a
this,
slight.
just like my parents.
meanwhile,
No, but
Sharp-
again, I still love you.
yeah. Meanwhile, Sharp meets with the president. You remember the president? You met him
Whoa.
first 5 minutes ago.
Columbo villain, yeah.
And begs the president to stop killing all the werewolves. And the president is glad that Beckmeyer fell in love with the female werewolf.
Yes.
He's like, oh, he fell in love with the werewolf. Was it a female werewolf? And he's like, yeah. He's like,
Well, thank God for that.
yeah. I was
Another
like,
joke that
what
didn't
the
end well.
fuck?
That aged well. That joke did not age
Dude,
well.
it's
at all.
not
Yeah.
that it didn't age well. Even
was
in,
just like-
in the 80s,
it was
people
just-
were probably like,
Yeah, it was like, what the fuck?
Was this in
And
the 80s? What year?
Yeah.
it was
87.
just like,
Okay.
like I saw that and I'm like, I actually stood up and,
No,
and
you-
I was like, what the
You know exactly what he was doing. It's
Yeah.
okay, and you had the proper reaction to
Yeah,
it.
Yeah.
and
It's
it
okay.
was like no, but like the whole thing was just like weird, and then like
It's played for laughs, too, by the way. It literally
was
is. There's
the-
a pause for
and
like
the
a laugh.
dead
and
air,
you're
the
just
dead
like,
air was like you wanted to scrub yourself a little bit,
This-
but like
yeah, from this moment on, after the president, right? This movie just fucking gets. It's the
It's
weirdest.
insanity.
it's weird.
It's
It's
insane.
it gets
insane.
crazier.
So up
because
until
they-
this point, there's at least maybe some logic to it. From this point on, after the president, right? This movie streamlines into what I don't know what the weirdest like
what is happening?
Because they go into this thing where they say, oh, remember back when EJ said the president doesn't believe they exist? It's a global conspiracy that they've always known that these creatures have existed and these tribes have existed, and they've been trying to keep them under control for quote unquote fear that people will lose their goddamn minds. But it's like, if they've always existed peacefully, then there's no threat. So what are you doing? And it's this whole weird shoehorned conspiracy bullshit.
This movie was written in a very lovely afternoon.
So now I guess
the writers are like, let's wrap this up really neatly in a bow, and
so
really finish this off really quick.
All right, let's end this really fast. So as time passes, maybe a few years, because Jerboa's baby is now about 6 or so, and Olga now has a baby too with Beckmeyer.
And just learning to walk.
Donnie chats with Beckmeyer about moving. He's like, I want to go back to the city, get back into the movies. And Beckmeyer's like, no, I think it's too dangerous. Then the next scene, Donnie and Jerboa set off to the city. Olga and Beckmeyer see them off. More years pass.
And then like the movie wraps up neatly and it's over, right?
No.
15 years pass.
Okay.
And now Sharp shows up. He finds Beckmeyer, and Beckmeyer has 2 kids now. And his oldest is about 15 or 16. And he has another baby.
She might be older than that.
Yeah.
They try to allude to the fact that werewolf kids mature faster, and they use metabolism as the excuse.
Her metabolism was off the charts.
But that's not how it works.
No.
What?
And the war on
doesn't in this world.
Thorpe is now over or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so Donnie and Jerboa went on to make more films. Beckmeyer returned to teaching.
I like that you get to see their spat. Nothing.
More sex. Put more sex into it.
She's like, I'm having a breakdown in the middle of the street. He's like, I want it sexy. And I'm like, who wrote that?
She gives legit constructive criticism. Like, she gives a really valid thing, and he's like, it's got to be sex. Put more sex into it. And they have this like
his character completely changes.
Yeah, he does have a mustache.
Oh, that's right.
And we cut to Beckmeyer in class, right? And he's teaching, and one of the students gets up. He goes and he introduces himself. He's like, "Hey, you might remember me.
I'm the marsupial.
I'm the little marsupial, baby." Right? And then Beckmeyer's like, "Oh my God, your parents.
You must be."
He's like, "Who are they now?" And he's like, "Well, my dad went on to be Steven Spielberg," or whatever it was. And then my mom, she goes by the name Loretta Carson. Right?
Oh, the famous actress. You know who that is?
Yeah.
You don't recognize her
I know,
because
he's like, well, she changed her name. I'm like, but she didn't change her fucking face.
I know.
And then the movie ends nicely, right?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
So the movie ends finally at an award show where Beckmeyer and Olga are watching from their, very lavish living room because they live back in the city now.
Yeah, because they went from the bush to one of the most expensive apartments in Australia.
Everybody knows that werewolves exist now, supposedly, and everything's okay, and the government's not going to persecute them.
Yep.
Apparently.
And so Jerboa is on the award show. She's about to win for Best Actress. They call her name, which is now Loretta Carson. So she ends up going onto the stage. She accepts her award. She's like, "Oh, thank you so much."
And then the movie ends nicely.
No.
And people start taking photos of her, which is weird because if she's been famous this whole time,
I know.
You
I'm
would
really
think.
surprised that it just
No.
First time.
long.
Don't do that.
Hey, did you also find it weird that when they were
Yes,
actually
all of
bringing
it.
her up for the award, they had John Travolta call her name?
Yeah, it is when
Jabana Zad.
easy.
Jerboa Aboriginal. So
And then he awkwardly gives her a kiss on the cheek.
yeah.
Yes,
So
I remember that.
She gets up on stage and they're taking pictures of her, and she ends up transforming on stage due to all the flash photography, and that's where the movie ends. Fuck this movie.
That's that's where the movie ends.
That's my favorite.
This
note.
is like
Fuck this movie.
I
that in your
don't
notes.
think I've ever heard EJ say something like that.
No. But you know what? This movie ending, it's sort of like the equivalent of being put out of your misery.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, I don't mean to sound dramatic, but holy shit, there was like points where I'm like, this movie is like 3 hours long. And then I checked the time. 45 minutes have gone by. It was just fucking with the space-time continuum.
Do you want your mind to get blown even further?
No.
It's impossible.
Oh no, I'm going to tell you right now. So you know who was who was the Jerboa? All right. So you know who was number 2 in the running to be the second cast as Jerboa?
Nicole Kidman.
Nicole Kidman was going to be Jerboa, and
So-
she lost it.
She was beautiful, but not wild.
She wasn't wild enough. Yes, she wasn't wild enough.
She wasn't wild enough. That makes sense. That tracks. Yeah.
Right.
Poor Nicole Kidman missed out on such a...
She missed what a role.
She's probably sitting there thinking of what could have been. She's like, you know, if I...
The
Director's like, we were trying to make it look low budget. I'm like, you did it,
She's
baby.
sitting back there. She just won for the hours. And she's talking to Meryl Streep. She's like, you know, I really missed out on the Howling 3. I was up for it, but I missed out. And that still haunts me to this day.
Excuse me while I go film my AMC commercial.
Now, before we continue to...
Which, by the way, when we went to see The Quiet Place, that commercial did air before the movie, and the theater erupted into applause. It was incredible. Everybody was so excited.
Oh, my God.
What do you got?
No, what I was going to say was... All right, and this is me being... To the credit... Oh, God. All right, so these types of movies, again, that time, I guess, in Australia was weird to producing film because it was very government regulated. Like the AFC was very on the payroll of the government. They wanted to make high art films. These were the kind of movies that they wanted to make. They would introduce young people into the craft and train them. But like this movie was like, I don't.
No one knows. Not
don't
even the
know.
producers.
I
It's
don't
okay.
know.
Your
Well, that's the
nose
thing.
is bleeding, good sir. Have a napkin.
Can I please have some drugs?
So,
Like,
with that being said, what are your emojis?
Well, no. Let's get into our thoughts.
Oh, yeah.
I got
get into
thoughts.
our thoughts. Yeah. All right,
Let's
Rory, let's go with you
wrap
first.
this up.
Yeah, let's wrap this shit up. My thoughts are going to be minimal. I'm going to put as much thought into this as the writers put into the script.
Right.
But this movie 100% should be shown in film school because it stresses the importance of a clearly written narrative, well-defined characters, and a main character for that matter. And if you don't have these things, you get the Howling 3.
Yep.
Because I honestly didn't know who the main character was.
I couldn't tell you.
They
Is
kinda
it
bounced
Beckmeyer?
around.
We
Or
still
is
don't
it
know.
Jerboa,
We don't know.
Jerboa?
Jaboa, I hope.
Jaboa.
But like the story, there wasn't like a clear-cut storyline, right? So that's what to me felt long, why it had such pacing issues, is because it just kept jumping around. I made that comment earlier about how it felt like there was maybe about 3 or 4 different scripts that got cobbled together, and it just made it feel kind of long. But then it was also just a thing where I'm like watching the movie and I couldn't remember any of the characters' names because none of them are characters.
Right.
Martin Donnie.
They're just like vessels for bad dialogue.
Well, like we talked about, it seemed like they had a concept, a good concept, but the execution just wasn't. There was none.
So the way you talk about like they should show this in film school, like I say this all the time. Like if you're doing something in life, whether it be run a bar or run a production company or whatever you do, you want to learn the things to do. But I say a lot of times it's just as important to learn what to not do.
You are correct.
And this thing takes you step by step on what not to
No,
do.
dude, you're right. Because it's awesome when you watch like a really great film.
And you can pick from that and be like, oh, that's cool.
But just like you're like, oh, this flows. Like this was an enjoyable experience because like it didn't feel long. It moved.
Yeah.
And then you sometimes watch a movie like this and you're like, this doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
So like
Correct.
if you're trying to jump into like screenwriting or filmmaking for that matter, these movies kind of guide you in the right direction. Don't do what they did.
Correct.
What Donnie Most does, don't.
Donnie Martin?
He's Donnie
Tom
Most to
Everett
me.
not?
Tom Ever not.
Not?
Yeah.
But anyway,
so
my final thought is this. Fuck you, Carmen.
fuck you, Carmen.
What a choice.
I watched this movie last night and I've showered 7 times since
I'm doing
then, and I
finger
can't
guns.
get the filth of this movie off of me. So here's my this is how I'm going to wrap this movie up. I have 2 questions and a statement. EJ,
Yes.
is the movie over?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
All right, Carm, your
Check your
turn.
notes real quick and make sure.
All right, Carm, your turn. I have nothing else to say.
So, much like people that go through a traumatic experience, I feel like we've grown closer as friends. Is that true? Is that
Yes,
just me? I feel
yeah.
like we're closer instead.
I lived through 9/11, and I'd rather watch that footage again.
Okay.
Oh,
well,
God.
I feel like
go.
grudges may have been formed. So I'm just saying.
That's
Yeah.
just flavor on a friendship. Well, that's just we're gonna
You're saying that's
that
like a
is
little
just
salt and
flavor
pepper
to a
at the end? Okay.
little
Yeah.
Little garlic
I'll
aioli.
put
Cayenne.
it this
zhuzh.
way.
Little
Like
zhuzh.
if I see you crossing the road, I may not pump the brakes.
I've had a good run, Rory. It's fine. I'm done.
What are your final thoughts?
Oh my God.
Keep in mind that we don't care and don't want to hear it. But go ahead.
Yeah.
Well, because I have the microphone and you have to listen to everything that I have to say. My God. All right, so I have legitimately been tainted by not only the movie, but the...
You did this to yourself, though.
No.
Did I?
Yeah.
You asked me to be on again. And I... Well, okay, yeah, I did. So... This movie was certainly a movie.
Definitely was.
When you say
and-
movie, can you do the quotey fingers?
They can hear it, believe it or
They
not.
can. At home, people can hear blink, blink.
Blink, blink. This situation was definitely a film, and they like to say that, oh, it was just a fun, whatever, we were having fun, we were doing thing. I don't know. So like Rory said, like you don't know who the main character is. You really don't know who to root for. You know who you want to root for.
The end of the movie.
The end credits.
Sorry,
No,
I'm just gonna
facts.
throw them in.
Dash to the credits.
Vinny, I'll set it up. You put them down
Okay.
all the time. I don't care. You know who you know what you want to happen or who you want to root for, but that doesn't happen. The silliness, the out there characters are the best part. I don't know that I have a final thought because I'm still processing what I witnessed.
Yeah,
I
that's how
don't-
tragedy works, man. You
Yeah.
have to process it. You need a couple
I'm
days
going to
afterwards.
I'm going to be talking through this with people for months. And
Carmen
I just,
hasn't been the same since Howling
No.
3.
No.
You
So-
can't see it. I am.
Rise of the
So,
Silver Marsupials.
So, Carmen, when we work together, like me and Rory will talk about, and people will be like, we'll mention, oh, we're on a podcast, and like one of the most common questions is like, oh, well, what's the worst movie you ever watched? I have my answer now. There's
Oh,
no,
you're
like,
welcome.
Yeah,
You're
that's
welcome.
there's
true.
no
You're welcome.
like. It's
You're welcome.
honestly, it's an easy thing now to say if anybody's like, oh, what's the worst movie you watched? No, it's The Howling 3.
Yeah,
without
because
a
honestly,
doubt.
like all the
Hands
movies
down.
we've
I live to
covered,
serve. You're welcome.
All the
You're-
movies that we've
you're-
covered so far, like I've liked to varying degrees.
Yeah, we can find little bits
Yeah.
here and there, and this
Like,
is
I-
just an absolute shit show.
I haven't had a bad experience watching any of the movies we've covered. This one was something. It was something.
It was like
special.
the train wreck that Frankenstein caused,
you
or the
know-
Invisible Man caused. Yeah.
You know what else kind of
It's a
bugged me about
living
it?
nightmare.
Last little add-on to my thoughts. Even the angles, just like the shot composition,
Yeah.
was so amateur. Like it was just like not suited for like a big budget movie.
There's
you know?
a scene
it's
with-
part of a franchise that was established.
Ag- 'cause
The
ag-
Howling is considered
right.
like a horror
Right, because
classic.
again, the movie he wrapped up for allegedly was Howling 2, and he had Christopher Lee in that movie. And then you go from that.
marsupials out of the movie.
This is how you kill.
There's a
another
shot.
spy.
There's a shot of Breckmeyer, whatever his name is, and it's later in the movie, and it's slightly askew, and it's like, where did that come from? Like, why all of a
There is a lot of.
why all of a sudden is there this tilted askew shot?
It's an unnerving
that hadn't
shot.
been.
There's no reason to be unnerved in that situation, and it's
Or like those shots of the
But it didn't-
characters being framed dead center.
Yes, it didn't add anything to the movie. Oh my god!
It's that thing you do when you're like 14 and you're making your first movie. You know, yeah. It's just like it's a
Hey,
lot like
hey,
a lot
hey!
of
What
those
if we
shots.
just turned it just a
Yeah.
little bit?
I challenge all Freakquels guests, future, to do this.
What if we
Find a movie that they.
What if we reshot this
can hate
movie
more.
shot for shot, but made it good? I don't think it's possible.
No, the script is terrible. There's
look,
no way.
A bomb went off in that script.
Yeah, there's no way anyone you could give this script to like Steven Spielberg and it still would be like a terrible movie.
I would like to see Christopher Nolan's
Do you know what?
version of this.
Do you know what makes
Watch this be like Nolan's favorite film. It's like, oh God, you got to see the Howling.
Just see Howling 3. Do
Soft
you know what makes me the most upset is that the director talks at length about government and corporate influence and how they're at odds with the artists and the audience and blah 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 blah. And I think Rory, you would be the loudest voice here, going, well, this gives ammunition to those scumbags.
This is an example
to make the most like. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
You're the reason they have to pull those strings
right?
so tight.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
My experience was different because I didn't watch it alone, because I don't know that I would be conscious even now to be here.
So
Like,
fun fact. George Romero did not have a lot of money when he made Night of the Living Dead.
Which is proof that
Yep.
money doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't. No, it
You
doesn't.
can make a great movie with
support and execution.
barely nothing.
Right. Correct.
right.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm telling you, I just feel like they did all the research on that marsupial birth scene.
And they spent all the money
they were
there.
like, we'll get to the other stuff later.
And
Yes.
they
We'll
spent,
fix it
And
in
they
post.
didn't.
We'll fix it in post.
We'll fix it in post.
maybe they leaned too hard in making a shitty movie intentionally, and it was actually shitty. I don't know.
Yeah.
But again, that budget, the $80,000 budget, the knowing that they had to have all this
Just
tech
on
and
effects,
prosthetics.
though. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fine.
And so, I mean, the effects were awesome. I mean, for what it was. But it just, I don't know.
The
It
people
made
from
me-
Uranus scene was pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted that movie.
I wanted- we
Oh,
all
God.
wanted that
That
movie. I wish we
movie,
had
I was,
that the
yeah.
full time,
That was
you know?
like watching, like, Shout Factory or, like, MST3K. I'm like, oh, yes, of course. Shit.
It's so weird.
But
yeah.
it, like, but again, you know, you wanted to see that, and that's not what you got. And I think my final thought was just, I did have fun, but I was disappointed.
EJ, what are your thoughts and why do you hate this?
EJ, you're here
I
too.
kinda addressed it a little earlier.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, but
I think he said, "Fuck this movie."
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm going
but
crazy.
I would say this though. Originally, I was going to pick cocaine as my emoji because I feel like that's what sponsored this film and was really the inspiration for this film.
we gotta look
But
at
no, this movie I definitely hated. It was terrible. I would not recommend this to anyone. I wouldn't unless I hated the person.
See, I would recommend this movie,
Really? I would not.
but I'm an agent cast. So whatever.
yes, I would recommend this on the basis that this is by far the worst movie I have ever seen, and I've seen Geely. So just
Oh my God.
Yeah. All right. So let's get into emojis. Who wants to go first?
got 'em.
All right, Rory, you go first.
So as I said before, a lot of the times I like to use the animal emojis to represent the representation of the animals, but the animals all did in fact contact me and asked us not to mention them. So I don't have any animal emojis except one. I have a wolf and a pile of shit next to it. That's it.
They
All
did
right.
reference shit in the movie, so you're not wrong.
I have a condom, I have a flashlight, and I have a piece of shit.
Okay. And Carmen.
I'm just a fucking kangaroo.
I love how, like, whenever we reference you to this, your first thought is a sigh. You just like, hey, what are your thoughts in this? And you just directly sigh. Those are your first thoughts, and then you get to your point.
Because Vince, look at me. No,
It's like
look,
tragedy.
look at me. Meet me here.
You're the
I've di-
director now.
Hang on, you can't see what's happening. I've disappointed myself.
Hey man, this was an experience.
You look like Martin Scorsese a little bit when you have those glasses
Don't tell him
on.
that.
Yeah.
He's like, can I have the glasses back?
Give me control. Just the kangaroo.
Sorry for bringing up Martin Scorsese in this review.
Yeah.
It's like, what's the
To
polar
be
opposites?
fair, though, we'll get on that. We'll talk about that later.
Sorry, Marty.
Yeah, sorry, Marty. The kangaroo.
What do you think his thoughts would be on this?
Oh my God.
Could you? How much money would you pay to watch this movie with Martin Scorsese?
Oh my God.
Oh my God. No, I'd be so embarrassed.
I would no, no, no.
I'd be like, I
would
didn't pick this one.
I would be no.
Does not
fucking
represent
I
what
would
I
be
watch at home.
down. Especially because what movie did he do? He was like, oh, my daughter was like 3D is all in the rage, so he just
Hugo.
went back. Hugo. And he went back and retroactively made it 3D just for funsies, he deserves to watch this movie.
But like, if you could watch any movie with Martin Scorsese, like Citizen Kane,
be Howling
1984,
3.
but this was an option, I would want to watch this with Martin Scorsese.
Yes,
Can I
I
tell you
agree.
what would happen?
100%.
You'd watch the movie with him. The next day, there's an announcement of his retirement from cinema. He's like, I've lost faith in cinema.
Or maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah. Maybe he's like, I'm never going to retire because I can't let this happen again.
Yeah. So, what are your emojis?
It's just a kangaroo because marsupials and pouches, and my brain can only just, I have no brain cells left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like we
That
all feel that
Seems
way.
fair. This was exhausting.
It was. It
Wasn't it?
was exhausting.
Hey, we
It
got
was-
there.
It was an
did
adventure. It was a lot of work. Like, and we watch these movies all the time. This was actual work to do that, to get
Do you
through
know
this.
that run that I'm training for?
Yes.
This was far more exhausting. I'm
It's-
not even kidding.
no. I understand. Like, the emotional drainage that this takes on you is something.
Well,
Yeah.
it wasn't just the effort to try to understand what
Carmen,
was going on.
shut up. You did this to us. This is your fault. You're the reason we're feeling this way. You're the reason we have these feelings. Okay.
You're welcome.
All right, yeah. So my emojis, it's a television and a bathtub. You do the math. All right, so let's get into plugs. All right. What would you like to plug? Carmen, go ahead first.
I have a Patreon for witness protection because of this episode. No. Oh man, I don't think I deserve to plug anything. No. Let's not.
We'll plug your Twitter, or
Nobody wants that.
No,
Nobody
they do.
wants to do that.
Go ahead.
I would like to plug Three Jacks Burgers because the food is incredible. The staff is incredible. Knowledgeable. Well, they are. No, they are. You shut your mouth now. Let me talk. Let me tell you what's happening right now. You.
Hey, we could say this. We show up.
we show up. Yeah,
We're here.
We're there.
Yeah.
I got it.
I love you, Vince. Yeah. Tell me about drywall.
I want to plug drywall.
I want to plug drywall and Vince. No,
Yeah.
but I do want to plug. I literally want to plug Three Jacks.
Yeah.
It's great. Please come. It's so cool, and food is good. People are great, and they care about what they do, and it's just a good vibe, good environment.
Yeah. Rory?
I'd like to plug Ravenview Productions. It's a little film production company that I'm building into an empire so that I can destroy other film companies.
Yes.
Fourth Cut Reviews. Our buddy Chris Conforti does stuff on the internet, sometimes with a camera, sometimes with a keyboard. That's what he does. We got Variant Season. Our buddy Will Perna's band. He records music and stuff. You can listen to it. Gravy Diggers is probably the most important plug because literally it's a company that's also a part of the Three Jacks empire. Matt Rinaldi's actually been in the closet cooking away.
For like 8 months now.
He's been here
8
this
months.
whole time.
Yeah. And then, of course, the most important plug of the night. Kitties of an EPA
Yes.
pet rescue.
Yes.
And I just say this to people all the time. You do a lot in 24 hours. If you're not helping cats, you are trash. And you should deserve to watch The Howling. Part 3.
Part 3.
I will come to your house, and we will watch it together.
For the record, cats are very soft. They're friendly. I love hanging out with Elle and Pumpkin.
Hey, Elle.
There you go. And she loves when you do that.
All right.
She goes, that was for me.
Yeah, she knows. I want to plug Chris Alou and his new music.
Gross.
Which, yeah.
Yes.
Well, okay. And then I also want to plug. There's this guy. His name is the Metal Messiah. And
Jon Snow.
I brought
Metal
somebody to plug him in
Messiah.
his next event.
Hey everybody, it's El Snow. I just want to say that ETC, the Eastern Tribute Collective, John's many, many bands, has no shows for the next month. So that is a whole month to get yourself hyped up and excited. Get yourself over to their Facebook page, Eastern Tribute Collective on Facebook, or you can go to their website, etc.com, and you can check out what shows are upcoming. In the meanwhile, this coming Saturday, there is a show at the V-Spot with the New Metal Values, which are good friends of the ETC, so go check that show out.
All
I'm
right.
already erect for
Let's
it.
do it.
Yeah.
I'll be there.
This message is approved by Jon Snow.
Yes.
Metal Messiah.
So it's really funny. I wrote down a bunch of things to plug, and everybody else plugged them pretty much. So I'm check out Adam Farley's music on
Yes.
Spotify and iTunes. Also Chris Alou's music. Make sure to check out the New Metal Messiah's ETC, Facebook and Instagram. Three Jacks, of course. Gravy Diggers. Matt is working on a new thing called the Gravy Bath. We're really excited about it. We don't know much except that stuff will be floating.
You get to lay in a tub.
And then we also have the NEPA Movie Mania with The Vinch and Joe Petito and Justin. They created this movie group that you can, plan events, like go see movies together or just talk about movies and movie news.
You
So
can
check
plan
that out.
events? How do you plan events?
Like you just plan events. Like you just show up and
I know you were trying to get some
Plan
content.
events.
I heard my name and I was like, oh, maybe.
You were fishing for content. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
It went nowhere. And you embarrassed yourself. I'm so sorry.
Almost like the Howling 3.
There you go.
yeah. Right?
The attention was almost taken off.
Also, check out our Facebook, FREAKQUELS Facebook. We also have an Instagram, and you can email us if you guys have any suggestions. Hopefully, not the Howling 3 again. But if you have any suggestions or questions, or just want to hit us up for whatever reason, email us at freakquelpodcast@gmail.com. Also, don't forget to rate and review us on iTunes and Spotify. You give us a 5-star rating, and you could just trash us in the review. That's fine. We don't care. We'll actually read the reviews online here, or not on air, I mean. Or not really live, but whatever. We'll read them, and
You'll hear
you
'em.
can hear your words. We'll speak them.
So if you're a narcissist,
if you're a narcissist,
you like to hear your own reviews.
Yeah.
Hey, not to interrupt you or anything, but I just really want everybody at home to give EJ Leeson some proper applause and props. I looked over at his notes. He literally drew a television set and a bathtub.
Yes.
And
did.
that made me laugh. I looked over at your notes and I went,
yeah. So,
go on.
yes. So, with that being said, thank you guys. Thank you, Carmen, for coming on the show.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Hey, if you
No.
listeners have any suggestions for me to ruin the vibe, or to come up with something very awful, or want me to come up with something terrible,
Yeah.
just spam the FREAKQUELS Facebook page.
Right.
I feel like we have our very first divisive episode.
And of course, it was me.
No, but Carmen, thank you so much for coming on the show. And
You are so welcome.
thanks for picking this movie.
You're
Good guess.
so welcome.
Yeah.
His last appearance. Thank you.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm a little more jovial now, because I know
Hey,
I never have to do this again.
in all seriousness, sometimes movies like this get the best jokes and shit out of us, so I
Yeah.
think it was a good choice.
Yes.
It was fun to talk about it with you, even though midway through the review, just like the movie itself, I blanked out.
I think we all did, but I think we all learned something today, and that's that we didn't learn anything, and that's the most important lesson that anybody can learn.
Yeah. Yeah. No, but thank you so much for coming on the show. Please come back again. And also, thank you for everyone listening at home. We appreciate it. Or in your car, wherever you listen to us, we appreciate it. If it's in the shower, that's great. That's cool.
or the bathtub with the television.
or that. But
Or scrubbing
guys,
the
thank you
filth
so much for scrubbing the filth off. But thank you for sticking around, hanging out. And with that being said, thank you for listening to
I don't remember any quotes to say at the end of it.
Is it over yet?
I'm going to die this way.
I'm going to die.